What's up guys, it's Lee here from Bleeped Up Productions, and yes, it's that time of the month. It's been a long time coming guys, but it finally is. That's right, a Warmachine and Hordes battle report. And as you can see guys, this was filmed at SmugCon 2014, and if you want to see the overview video that I did, you can click on the screen right now to view the SmugCon 2014 overview video. And yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please leave a like, and remember guys, if you are in the local English area or foreign, why not come to SmugCon 2015, because it is going to be an absolute blast. But anyway, moving on, I have a fantastic game to show you with my friend Neek, who is from DICERAGELive.com. If you guys want to check his channel out, it's in the description below. But his army list was Butcher 3, with 2 Arguses and a War Dog. He also took a Colon Lord, 2 Demolishers, and 2 Devastators. So yes, we are having the Butcher matchup, as I like to call it. And I decided to take Butcher 1, Beast 09, the Behemoth, a full unit of Iron Fang Dragon, Black Dragons, the Iron Fang Kovnik, the Winter Guard Mortar Crew, and Kovnik Joe. Basically, in this battle report, guys, we wanted to see who was the best Butcher. Butcher 1 or Butcher 2. And if you guys want to check out any content that Nick and me are a part of, you can click the screen right now to go see an episode of Dice Rage Live. This is basic podcast show with no agenda. Well, it does have agendas, but we seem to go all over the place. And that's also with Steam Powered TV, aka Tin Man Excel, Marth from Martha Sheen's blog from Let's Listen While You Play, and also Neek and myself. So click on there to go see the playlist and just have some hilariousness while you paint. But with that further ado, guys, let's get straight into this episode, shall we? Right, Nick, how are you feeling about today's matchup?
Pretty horrible. Let's just start off with versus right out of the game. So I'm playing the Clam Wall, which is 4 Clamjacks, as they call it, 2 Devastators and 2 Demolishers, Butcher 3, and a Cold Lord for Power Booster, and a Dog for the defense bonus. And you're pretty much playing a really hard counter against it. Anything in your list can kill a Clamjack, which is normally the list focuses on kill the thing that can kill Clamjack or the Butcher, and then just wait out the scenario. And in this case, it's not really possible because it can get killed from any angle right now.
But it should be fun.
It should be fun. That's what it's about, right?
So we're here at SmugCon 2014 playing Neek, you guys know from Dice Rage Live. He's playing a really fun list. This match up is going to be fun. Old Butcher versus Butcher 3. New school versus old school. So I'm going a little bit Jack heavy-ish. I'm taking a Behemoth and a Beast 09 because I need to get through those lovely clams. And I'm just taking some Iron Fangs because I recently painted them except 2 models. So in this battle report you will laugh, because I'm the only guy on this table without painted models, and Nick's models will put mine to shame. So it should be a lot of fun. We're playing a steamroller scenario, which will come up on the screen after I keep speaking because I just forgot about it. But it should be a good battle report, and yeah, it's Kador v Kador. Okay, this scenario is close quarters. We've played it before on this channel, but we wanted an easy kind of scenario because we wanted to just see who could really do better, Butcher 1 or Butcher 3. And obviously there's a kill box in this, and there's 2 flags in accordance with the diagram. And yeah, it's the first player to earn at least 5 control points and has more control points than the opponent immediately wins the game. Also, you know, an assassination it also gives you the victory. So without further ado, let's take a look at the models, and as you can see, Nick's army is just absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that. The wall of clams, as I like to call it, and yeah, it just looks phenomenal, and his Butcher 3 model is just fantastic. And then you have my newly painted Black Fangs right there, and unfortunately my Standard Bearer and Captain weren't painted at this time, and my Butcher at the back, which you guys have seen before. But let's get straight into Neek's turn 1. And basically what Neek did, he allocated 3 focus to his jacks, 2 to the Devastators and 1 to the Demolisher, so 1 each. And he then activated his Colvin Lord, who decided to use Power Boost to give the other Demolisher, who didn't have a focus, a free bit of focus. And then, obviously, as you can see, guys, he spends that focus to run up, and all the rest of the jacks decide to spend their focuses and run up the board. So yeah, as you can see, a wall of clams climbing up this hill. And yeah, like I keep saying, guys, look how beautifully painted these models are. They put mine to shame. They're possibly some of the nicest painted models we've had on this channel, other than Mike's, I would say. Mike's Menoth are amazingly painted as well. So as you see, Nick's about to move his last Warjack due to all this shenanigans. He's not going to be in base to base, that last one. And that is all his jacks moved. He then activates Butcher 3 and he casts Energizer, which is for 3, and that means all his battle group can move an extra 3 inches. So as you can see, he moves up Butcher 3, he moves up the Argos and the other Argus up 3, and then he activates all the other jacks and moves them up 3. And as you can see, with a hilarious hill, we need to do some shenanigans with the dice. So I'll come back after Neek has moved all his Warjacks, and as you can see, he's left a lovely little gap between the jacks there, and you'll see why in a second. Keeping with Butcher 3, he then decides to charge the black dragon Iron Fangs, and as you can see, through that gap, he is going to be able to charge it. And as we're going to see in a second, there is the gap, so he does have line of sight, so he decides to charge up the board. He then activates the Arguses, and they also run up the board to just gain more ground. And as you can see, they are quite nippy little dogs. They just run up the board like crazy. He then activates the War Dog and runs that up base to base with the Demolisher to earn immune to blast damage. And I believe that is the end of NIEK'S Khador turn 1. Okay, Khador turn 1 for me. I allocate 2 focus to the subcortex of the behemoth, and Butcher keeps 4 focus for himself. I then activate Kovnik Joe, giving the speech for the motherland, giving boosted attack rolls on the mortar. I then activate the mortar, and it decides to shoot at the Argus, but it is unfortunately just short by a millimeter, and it diverts 4 inches to the 3, and it goes nowhere special. So then we activate the behemoth, and the behemoth decides to walk up the board. The behemoth then targets the Argus. I boost to hit, but unfortunately I miss, and it diverts again to 4 inches to the 2, so nowhere special. I shoot at it again, I boost, I successfully hit, and yes, I kill the Argus, and I unlock the achievement First Blood. And Butcher, because one of his Argus dies, he ends up getting Vengeance. But as you can see, the Kovnik is then activated. He moves up the board and turns to face the Iron Fangs and gives them Shield March, and gives them +2 movement or something like that, I believe, or +3, I forget. It gives them a movement bonus, and if they do a Shield Wall activation. Now, the Iron Fangs then decide to walk up the board with their movement bonus because of Shield March and go into Shield Wall, and the black dragons have to be in base to base to get that Shield Wall bonus. I then check the command area and they're all within the officer's command range. The Butcher is then to activate. He walks up the board, which will end up going there, and he decides to cast Iron Flesh on the Black Dragons, making their defense quite high to hit, and that will end my Khador turn 1. And as you can see, guys, the wall of clams are on the hill, and as you can guess, in most Warmachine games, it's just basically the first turn is always about moving and running and getting into position for turn 2 to be an absolute brutality. So let's see how NIEK'S turn 2 turns out. First off, we have a Vengeance move for the Butcher. So the Butcher activates because of Vengeance, and that is triggered off. So as you can see, he just moves into base to base with his wall of clams, and so does the dog. It goes through the flag because the flag is incorporeal, I believe, so he just goes straight through it. Butcher then allocates 1 focus to each Devastator, and he keeps 4 focus for himself. He then activates the Colvin Lord, and again he moves up the board and power boosts the Demolisher, I believe, to give it a point of focus. Butcher 3 again casts Energizer for 3, and again the battle group all move forward 3 inches. The Arguses then activate next, and they decide to move up the board. And as you can see, they got base to base in with the Iron Fangs, but he decides not to attack the Iron Fangs. He then activates the Butcher, and the Butcher is just going to reposition himself next to the flag, and he's going to actually take a pot shot at the Iron Fangs. So he hits with his first shot, or his only shot he hits, and then he actually kills the Iron Fangs. So that was the champion, so that guy gets a lovely promotion. He then activates the Devastator and decides to spend its 1 focus to run into the Black Dragons, but because remember it has Bulldoze, he decides to bulldoze some of the Black Dragons out of the way so they can actually lose a little bit of their shield wall abilities. And it repositions itself. He then activates the next Devastator and again runs up the board, but he runs base to base with the other Devastator. He then activates the Demolisher, and that moves up to congest the flag and decides to move up, as you can see, just to get a little bit of a better position on the board. And the next Demolisher moves up the board and will actually stay in congestion with the other flag, and he takes a pot shot at the Behemoth. The first shot actually misses, and as you can see with the diversion, he rolls quite well actually. It diverts and ends up hitting 3 of the Iron Fangs. needing 7s to kill. The first one misses. The second one is dead. And then the third one misses. So he kills another black dragon. His second shot also misses and diverts onto, again, more Iron Fangs. As you can see from this, he ends up clipping 2 more. Again, 7s to kill. The first one dies, but the second one lives. And I take away this model, but Nick says it was that model, so I have to replace it and take that one off. Whoops-a-daisy. Anyway, the War Dog then activates and places himself safely behind the Butcher, ending Nick's turn 3, giving Butcher 3 all those beautiful defense bonuses. Okay, my turn 2. I decide to allocate 3 focus to each Jack. I do not upkeep Iron Flesh, and all the focus is put on the normal cortex of the Behemoth. And Shield March also falls off. The Iron Fangs activate next, and they decide to walk up the board. And as you can see, some of them walk into combat with the Demolisher. And then 3 of them decide to go on the Argus. And remember, Arguses have a 360 field of vision. So these guys are just going to get into the back arc of the Argus. But first we'll do the combat with the 4 Iron Fangs. They all attack individually. And as you can see, 3 are on the Argus and 4 are on the Demolisher. So let's get straight into the first attack with the 4 Iron Fangs. The first one hits and ends up doing 7 damage to column 1 of the Demolisher. The second Iron Fang hits and unfortunately does no damage. The third one hits and again does no damage, and then the fourth one hits and ends up doing 3 damage to column 1. Now the 3 Iron Fangs on the Argus, doing a combined attack, they hit and end up killing the other Argus. So both Arguses are dead for Butcher 3, but due to the Argus dying, Butcher 3 ends up getting vengeance. And then the Butcher moves up the board to place himself there and pops his feet. So please tell us, Tin Man, what is his feat?
Prime Butcher's feat? Well, that's simple right there. Friendly Khador models in the Butcher's control area gain an additional die on their attack damage rolls.
Okay, and then I activate Beast 09, and he spends 1 to charge into the Jacks, and he ends up charging 1 of the Demolishers. So he hits the Jack. For the damage roll, he ends up doing 9 damage to column 2. His second attack with the fist hits and ends up doing 1 damage to column 3. By another attack with the axe and I hit, I end up doing 5 damage to column 6. I buy another attack, it hits, and I end up doing 2 more damage to column 1. The Behemoth then activates and charges into the Devastator. The charge attack hits and ends up doing 10 damage to column 3. His second initial attack also hits and ends up doing 9 damage to column 5. I buy a third attack and hit and do 8 damage to column 4. I buy a fourth attack and I roll a double 1. So I get an achievement of rolling a double 1. I activate the Iron Fang Kovnik and he charges the Hurt Devastator. His attack hits, and with all those dice, I end up doing 8 points of damage to column 6. I activate Kovnik Joe, and he casts For the Motherland on the mortar crew before walking up and targeting the Hurt Devastator. Through all those Iron Fangs, he hits and ends up doing 2 damage to column 3. I activate the mortar next, and it targets the Demolisher. Needing 12s to hit, it hits due to the boosted dice rolls. And in the AoE, it clips 4 Iron Fang black dragons in the blast radius. So with the blast, it does 6 damage to column 2 of the Demolisher.
First guy.
First guy, 6 is to kill him. No, it has to be 7, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So first one misses. One dice. Another one dice. And another one dice. Oh my gosh, are you serious? So that's 3, eh?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
As you can see, turn 2 is over, and yeah, there's been quite a lot of casualties on my side due to my mortar blowing up some of my Iron Fangs, but I wanted to do more damage on that feat turn, but unfortunately Butcher 3 still lives, and unfortunately I believe it could be the end for Butcher 1. So let's see what Nick can do in turn 3. First things first, vengeance happens due to me killing the Argus, and Neek moves around Butcher 3. He then allocates no focus to any of his jacks, so he keeps all that focus. He then activates one of the Demolishers and bulldozes Beast 09 back, and decides to take 2 shots at Beast 09. The first shot hits and ends up doing 6 damage to column 4. His second shot then hits and does 7 damage to column 3. He then activates one of the Devastators and moves up the board and does its special attack, Rain of Death, which is an AO3 blast damage of 18, which is pretty nasty. So, Beast 09 ends up taking 5 damage to column 5. And the Behemoth ends up taking 5 damage to column 5. Nick then activates Butcher 3, and he walks up and casts Energizer to get into base to base with P. Butcher. And will use his initial attack on the Behemoth. He hits the Behemoth and ends up doing 3 damage to column 5. He then casts Flashing Blade, which basically the spell means attacking every model in the line of sight of its weapon's melee range. So he attacks the behemoth again, and he hits and does 5 damage to column 4. He then attacks Beast 09, and he hits and does 8 damage to column 4. He then attacks P Butcher, he hits him and does 7 damage to him. He then casts Flashing Blade again, attacking the behemoth again, hitting and doing 8 damage to column 3. His second attack on Beast 09 hits and does 6 damage to column 6. His final attack on the Butcher hits and does a whopping 8 damage to P Butcher. Casting Flashing Blade one more time, he hits with the first attack on the Behemoth and does 7 damage to column 3. His second attack on Beast 09 hits and does 10 damage, which will wreck Beast 09.
Ready?
Yeah, ready to go. Oh, achievement unlocked, double 1. So, I guess,
Flashing Blade again.
Flashing Blade again on the Behemoth.
Behemoth first hit.
Hits,
-5.
-5. 1 damage this time to column 6. Here we go, on the Butcher.
Got my feet left. Right.
That's true. That's a 10. Let's just get that in focus. Sorry, Nick, can you just move the 1? So there it is. There's 10. So go for it.
We'll boost it.
He's going to boost it just for giggles. That's pretty brutal. And that is definitely the end of Butcher. And Neek gets a lovely win. And this guy, there he is. So a Kador win. So guys, that's it. The battle report is over. Kador wins. You have to be happy with that. Butcher 3 is legit. You can walk around, mate. It's perfectly fine. It is smoke con. It's perfectly cool. Alright, so yeah, you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, the matchup was pretty tough, and I'm happy that I almost managed to kill off the guy.
Yes, editing this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Look, so people want to keep walking through. I love it. They just walk through. But yeah, editing this was a lot of fun. Thanks to Tom and John for letting us film a battle report.
And for organising the entire
yeah, SmogCon's been awesome. Keep walking through. It's all good. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun playing SmogCon. You'll see Neek in our next Star Wars battle report, which we're about to film in a bit. We're going to take a break. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Neek, you've had fun.
I've had a lot of fun.
Do you want to advertise your channel, even though you don't do that many videos?
There's no videos on there, so there's no real useful.
What I'm going to say is go check out his Conquest, which is probably going to pop up in the middle of this right here.
There's a good video on that.
Yeah, so go check out that video if you want to get some tips about how to paint colossals and do rust and stuff.
Not buying an airbrush, just cheap spray paint and some washes.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
It's awesome. So also I've put a lovely subscribe bar down there if you want to subscribe to NIEK'S channel for any kind of tips or anything. So yeah guys, take care. We'll see you next month for another battle report. And yeah, it's been educational. Butcher 3 has made me cry. It's pretty fun.
Butcher 3 makes everyone cry.
It makes everyone cry.
There's not something around there.
Take care guys.
And that is it, guys. That is another battle report in the books. Want to let you guys know that the Colossal battle report that I left on the last battle report is happening. We're all just painting our Colossals. And trust me, some of them are looking very, very tasty. But guys, if you've enjoyed this battle report, please leave a like and a comment. And yeah, obviously check out NIEK'S channel, that is in the description below. But also guys, I want to tell you something amazing. There's a new show starting called Paint It Red on my channel. It's a show that is basically me painting Kador and answering your guys' questions. So if you have any questions about my Kador, any questions about Warmachine, what I do, any of my videos, or any personal questions or whatever, you can leave a comment below in this or on our Facebook group. And during the episode of me painting, I believe I'm going to be painting Harkovich because I want to use him in an upcoming battle report. I will answer your questions, and it also gives me some interaction with my audience and people who watch these battle reports. So obviously, if you're watching this now, you probably click that thumbnail to go to the first episode. And obviously, if you've left a comment below, I'll probably answer it. But if you've left one and it's a bit too late, I might get round to writing and answering that question even in the next episode, which will be episode 2, obviously. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you for SmogCon for allowing us to film there. Obviously, guys, check out the SmogCon video if you haven't seen it. It's a fantastic convention to play Warmachine casually and competitively. But on the screen right now, you can subscribe to my channel, you can view my channel, and yeah, don't forget to like or leave a comment. Also, check out DICERAGE Live, guys. The link is in the description. But yeah, click the thumbnails on the screen right now to view any more of my content. On there is my Star Wars, my Hero Clicks, my Game Nights, and my FIFA 14 content. So guys, check those things out. And until next month, guys, take care and have a good one.